afternoon. I'd like to welcome everyone to the promotion ceremonies that we are going to celebrate 7 new promotees in our police bureau. And at this point, I'd like to bring up Police Chief Cameron S. McLay.
Thank you, Sonia. Before we begin, I'd ask you to please join me in a Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. This is a very exciting opportunity for me. Promotions are a very special time in an organization's life. As the organization grows, as the organization develops, an important part of organizational life is the development of new leaders. And this is an exciting time in the Pittsburgh Bureau of Police. Today we'll be promoting 2 new lieutenants and 5 new sergeants into new leadership roles. While every member of the Pittsburgh Bureau of Police is themselves a leader, people tasked with the ethical responsibility to serve the community and an ethical responsibility for the future success of that organization, taking a step up to a new promoted level carries with it heavy burden and additional responsibilities. No longer are they responsible solely for the work that they do and the people with whom they worked at the preceding level. They're taking on a much heavier burden and the responsibility for the lives of others. So this is a very important step, and I'm very excited about the event that we're going to have here today. Before I introduce the mayor, though, we are joined here by Howard McQuillan, the president of the Fraternal Order of Police. I would like to invite him up, give him the opportunity to say a few words before we kick things off. Howard, would you join us?
Can I just take one?
Yeah.
Good afternoon. I just wanted to take a chance to congratulate the new sergeants and lieutenants being promoted today. After hearing what the chief said, I think there's still time if you want to leave and not take the responsibility and just be a patrolman again. But seriously, it's respect the fact that you guys were willing to do what you're going to do here, moving your career forward, moving into a leadership role. And as the chief said, being an officer today, we are leaders amongst ourselves, but to take on the extra duties of being a sergeant and lieutenant is respectable, and I really appreciate you doing that. Our job is continuously being, we're constantly being strained with doing more with less, and as you see, our numbers do and have been dwindling over the couple of years with retirements, and unfortunately with new recruits that come in and find other jobs, other places, and leave us sooner than 20 years in. But that too is going to strain your leadership a little bit harder, or make it a little bit harder to be a leadership in the leadership role because of leading younger officers as we move forward. And our department is progressively getting younger as we move forward. Not necessarily a bad thing, but it's a challenging thing. And we are professionals here. We have been, and we will continue to be professionals, and we'll get the job done with who we have here. So congratulations again. Good luck with your new steps in your career, and good luck.
Thanks, sir. Thank you. And with every challenge comes opportunity. So thank you for your step forward. So now I'd like to introduce Public Safety Director Stephen Buchar.
Thank you, Chief. Good afternoon, everyone. I like to reflect about future leaders by looking at those in the past, and I do that by looking at quotes. So I have a couple quotes here from Abraham Lincoln that I think are appropriate for this ceremony to promote some of our new leaders. No man is good enough to govern another man without the other's consent. And the second quote, nearly all men can stand adversity, but if you want to test a man's character, give him power. So I would say that the 7 candidates who are being promoted today have demonstrated that they have the character to have the consent and the respect of those men and women who they will lead after this day. With those comments, I want to congratulate those who will be promoted today. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce Mayor Bill Perduto.
Thank you, Director. And as I look down at these 7 badges that will soon be on your uniforms, I want to thank you first for the service that you've provided to the people of Pittsburgh. I want to thank you for the added responsibility that you'll be taking, not only to make sure that you come home safely, but that the officers that you'll be leading come home safely as well. And I also want to thank your families for sharing you with us, for the difficult times that come with this job, and for the understanding as well. I also want to make sure that the loved ones that are here understand something. These promotions are based on one thing: merit. They're based on the promotion of those that are most qualified to lead. And it's difficult at times because we have a small bureau and you get to know people and you want to be able to promote because you believe that person could do a good job. But we've been dedicated to one thing: finding and making sure that the people who've proven themselves get that opportunity. The ones that are seeking it are given that chance, and that we're able to create within a bureau of leaders. We have a new command staff that is dedicated to making sure that we not only restore the morale within the ranks, but that we build back a partnership with the community. We have a new chief and a new public safety director that are working to make sure that every day the people of Pittsburgh can go to sleep at night or wake up in the morning feeling safe, not only from the danger that's around them, but the dangers that they feel themselves on a daily basis. And today we'll be promoting 7 people. 7 people that will be the front line, the voice, the ears, the eyes of understanding what is happening in that community, to be able to channel it up so that we can respond more effectively. It's a great honor to be able to do this job, to be able to offer this oath of office. And I would like to begin with the promotion first of lieutenant and then that of sergeant. So if Edward Cunningham could please come up and join me. Sir, if you could raise your right arm and say after me. I, Edward Cunningham, Jr.
I, Edward Cunningham, Jr.
Do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
the Constitution and the laws of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
and the laws and ordinances of the City of Pittsburgh,
and the laws and the ordinances of the City of Pittsburgh,
and obey all orders issued by my superior officers,
and obey all orders issued by my superior officers,
and all rules and regulations
and all rules and regulations
pertaining to and governing
pertaining to and governing
the Department of Public Safety, Bureau of Police,
the Department of Public Safety, Bureau of Police,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties of police lieutenant
the duties of police lieutenant
with fidelity, according to the best of my knowledge and ability.
according to the best of my knowledge and ability.
Congratulations, Lieutenant.
Thank you, sir.
Sergeant Patrick Fosnot. Sergeant, if you could raise your right arm and state after me. I, Patrick E. Fosnot,
I, Patrick E. Fosnot,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
the Constitution and laws of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
the laws and ordinances of the City of Pittsburgh,
the laws and ordinances of the City of Pittsburgh,
and obey all orders issued by my superior officers,
and obey all orders issued by my superior officers,
in all the rules and regulations
and all the rules and regulations
pertaining to and governing
pertaining to and governing
the Department of Public Safety, Bureau of Police,
the Department of Public Safety, Bureau of Police,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties of police lieutenant
the duties of police lieutenant
with fidelity, according to the best of my knowledge and ability.
according to the best of my knowledge and ability.
Congratulations, Lieutenant. We will now begin the promotions of Police Sergeant Thomas Galt. Could you please join us? Good afternoon, officer. If you could please raise your right hand and state after me. I, Thomas A. Galt,
I, Thomas A. Galt,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
the Constitution and the laws of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
the laws and ordinances of the City of Pittsburgh,
the laws and ordinances of the City of Pittsburgh,
and obey all orders issued by my superior officers,
and obey all orders issued by my superior officers,
and all the rules and regulations
and all the rules and regulations
pertaining to and governing
pertaining to and governing
the Department of Public Safety, Bureau of Police,
the Department of Public Safety, Bureau of Police,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties of Police Sergeant
the duties of Police Sergeant
with fidelity, according to the best of my knowledge and ability.
according to the best of my knowledge and ability.
Congratulations, Sergeant. James Toger. Sir, if you could raise your right hand and state after me. I, James A. Toger,
I, James A. Toger,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
the Constitution and laws of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
and the laws and ordinances of the City of Pittsburgh,
and the laws and ordinances of the City of Pittsburgh,
and obey all orders issued by my superior officers
and obey all orders issued by my superior officers
and all rules and regulations
and all rules and regulations
pertaining to and governing
pertaining to and governing
the Department of Public Safety, Bureau of Police,
the Department of Public Safety, Bureau of Police,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties of Police Sergeant
the duties of Police Sergeant
with fidelity,
according
to the best of my knowledge and ability.
to the best of my knowledge and ability.
Congratulations, Sergeant. Thank you. Timothy McConkey. Officer, if you could raise your right hand, state after me. I, Timothy A. McConkey,
I, Timothy McConkey,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
the Constitution and laws of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
the laws and ordinances of the City of Pittsburgh,
the laws and ordinances of the City of Pittsburgh,
and obey all orders issued by my superior officers,
and obey all orders issued by my superior officers,
and all rules and regulations
and all rules and regulations
pertaining to and governing
pertaining to and governing
the Department of Public Safety, Bureau of Police,
Department of Public Safety, Bureau of Police,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties of police sergeant
the duties of police sergeant
with fidelity,
with fidelity,
according to the best of my knowledge and ability.
according to the best of my knowledge and ability.
Congratulations, Sergeant.
Thanks.
Officer Lee Myers. Officer, if you can raise your right arm, state after me. I, Lee Alex Myers,
I, Lee Alex Myers,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
the Constitution and laws of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
the laws and ordinances of the City of Pittsburgh,
the laws and ordinances of the City of Pittsburgh,
and obey all orders issued by my superior officers
and obey all orders issued by my superior officers
and all the rules and regulations
and all the rules and regulations
pertaining to and governing
pertaining to and governing
the Department of Public Safety, Bureau of Police,
the Department of Public Safety and Bureau of Police,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties of police sergeant
the duties of police sergeant
with fidelity, according to the best of my knowledge and ability.
according to the best of my knowledge and ability.
Congratulations, Sergeant. And finally, Detective Mark Joyce. You can come up and get a better view of Daddy. Detective, if you could raise your right arm, state after me. I, Mark Joyce,
I, Mark Joyce,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
the Constitution and laws of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
the laws and ordinances of the City of Pittsburgh,
the laws and ordinances of the City of Pittsburgh,
and obey all orders issued by my superior officers,
and obey all orders issued by my superior officers,
and all the rules and regulations
and all rules and regulations
pertaining to and governing
pertaining to and governing
the Department of Public Safety, Bureau of Police,
the Department of Public Safety and Bureau of Police,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties of police sergeant
the duties of police sergeant
with fidelity,
with fidelity,
according to the best of my knowledge and ability.
according to the best of my knowledge and ability.
Congratulations, Sergeant. Sergeant, that's what it's all about. So congratulations to you and your family, to all the families that are here today. It's a great honor that each of you have been bestowed, but you have also earned it. It's a lot of opportunity to do some really great things in this city. I hope you take this opportunity, this responsibility with pride, understanding that it is a job that is earned, and also with the responsibility of making sure that those that you'll now lead will be given that same opportunity if you lead them well. It's now the time where I turn it over to Chief Schubert to let you know where your assignments will be. Regardless of where they are, please remember that there will be those in those zones who will be looking up to you. Do great things. Chief?
Congratulations. Thanks for stepping up and being new leaders within the Pittsburgh Bureau of Police. Just please remember to lead by example and always be fair and consistent with everyone. Start off with Lieutenant Edward Cunningham, be assigned to Zone 3. Lieutenant Patrick Fosnot, be assigned to Zone 3. Sergeant Thomas Galt, be assigned to Zone 1. Sergeant James Tozier, going to be assigned to Zone 2. Sergeant Timothy McConkey, assigned to Zone 6. Sergeant Mark Joyce, be assigned to Zone 5. And Sergeant Lee Myers will be assigned to Zone 2. So we want to thank everybody for coming today. This will conclude the ceremony. Anybody, family, friends who would like to stay, the mayor, the public safety director, the chief, and the command staff will be up here for pictures. Please feel free to stay and take some photos. Thank you very much, and stay safe out there.
Good afternoon. It is always a pleasure to come here to when we're ready to do promotions, and this is another exciting day. I've had the opportunity, Your Honor, of meeting Mr. Mahowski and his family previously, and he actually wants to move and be my neighbor, and I'm hoping that he can pull that off relatively quickly. Lieutenant Mahowski's been on the job for approximately 9 years, has a distinguished record, and has been trained by some of the best and has a lot of experience, and we're very proud to have him promoted. So ladies and gentlemen, at this time I'd like to present to you the Honorable Mayor Peduto, who will administer the oath of office.
Thank you, Chief. Firefighter Mahowski and family, it's a special day. Chief Cook, thank you for being here as well. Today is an opportunity and a responsibility. It's the understanding that you're receiving this promotion based on merit from the work that you have done in the past, and with that comes the obligation now that you not only take care of yourself and the people of Pittsburgh, but the men and women who will serve under you. It's an understanding that just as you have a commitment to make it home to be with your family every day and to go back home the same way that you went into work, that you now have an obligation to make sure that the men and women who serve under you are taken care of as well. Your job is not a job. I often say it's a vocation. There's very few people who train and work and study in order to be able to run into burning buildings, not run away from them. It's something that only a few people have the ability to do. And with this day today comes that responsibility and that opportunity to do even more. So it's with my honor that I get the opportunity to give to you the oath of office in earning the rank of lieutenant. So if you could please stand in front of me, raise your right arm, and state after me. I, Robert Mahowski,
I, Robert Mahowski,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution and laws of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
the Constitution and laws of the
Co-
state of Pennsylvania,
the laws and ordinances of the City of Pittsburgh,
the laws and ordinances of the city of Pittsburgh,
and obey all orders
and obey all orders
issued by my superior officers
issued by my superior officers
and all the laws and regulations
and all the laws and regulations
pertaining to and governing
pertaining to and governing
the Department of Public Safety, Bureau of Fire,
the Department of Public Safety, Bureau of Fire,
and that as a lieutenant,
and that as a lieutenant,
I will well and faithfully discharge
I will well and faithfully discharge
and perform all the duties of my office
and perform all the duties of my office
according to the best of my knowledge and ability.
according to the best of my knowledge and ability.
Congratulations, Lieutenant.
Thank you.
Thank you all for coming. This is a very proud and exciting moment for me. This is an opportunity to recognize some of the heroic efforts, some of the fantastic work that's done every day by men and women of the Pittsburgh Bureau of Police. As the new chief of police, I was shocked to discover it's been a couple years since we've had an opportunity to celebrate our successes. And so this is a very, very proud opportunity for me. So I want to thank all of you for taking the time out of your busy lives to come and recognize the great work of the men and women of the Pittsburgh Bureau of Police. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce Public Safety Director Stephen Bucar.
Before we go any further, I think we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Chief. Good afternoon, officers, distinguished colleagues, family members, and guests. We're here to honor the exceptional performance and commitment of members of the Police Bureau and the law enforcement community. Although we are recognizing a few officers today, I want to briefly mention that what brought these officers here plays out over and over again without notice by every officer working in the Bureau. That strength of character and commitment for duty of the members of our Police Bureau that keeps them on the right track despite the many obstacles and challenges that face us out there. In all my 31 years of law enforcement experience, I've never seen a more divisive time in our law enforcement history. Our officers face daily challenges that I didn't face 25 years ago. Technology makes it easy for community members to videotape officers and highlight misconduct. But I'm still waiting for the videotaping of criminals appearing on the local news. Community activists and protesters have freedom to march and hold signs calling for officers to be killed, while our officers are committed to stand by and protect their right to do so. A local official who oversees one of the largest police departments in the country felt it necessary to publicly announce that he advised his son to be cautious of the members of his own police department. A recently appointed state law enforcement official in Pennsylvania is quoted as saying that police are the cause of civil disobedience. Some of our national leaders have made broad brush statements that police officers in this country are racist and routinely use excessive force. I don't make these points to cast a cloud on this day of celebration. Quite the contrary. I want to highlight and recognize the professionalism of our officers, who, despite these type of character assassinations, still nevertheless continue to protect and serve with the true commitment which brought them into this profession. So with that, not only do I want to honor those receiving awards today, I want to honor all of you who wear the uniform of the Pittsburgh Bureau of Police each and every day serving the citizens of the city of Pittsburgh. Thank you for that commitment. Now I would like to introduce the mayor of the city of Pittsburgh, Mr. William Perduto.
Thank you, Director, and thank you to everyone who's here today. It has been a few years since we've taken this important step. And what this recognizes isn't a ribbon that is worn on a dress uniform, but the character of the officer behind the ribbon. It recognizes the highest level of professionalism and recognizes that a community is grateful for it. It recognizes that there are those that put their lives on the line every day, those that take ultimate risk, and those that do it with the greatest of professionalism. And for those, we recognize them today for what they have done. I want to thank Councilman Daniel Lavelle for being here with us, and also joined by Max and Sue Sholo. Thank you as well for being here. You're always here, and you're always in all of our hearts. We take a moment today to thank officers who have taken the extra step. We take a moment today to recognize them for this and for their professionalism. And we should also take in mind, not just today, but all days, all of those who put themselves at risk. Chief?
And now, in order to help present the awards, invite up Assistant Chief Bryant, who will be reading off the names of the award recipients. When your name is called, please come up, receive your congratulations from the command staff, and be presented with your award.
Thank you, Chief. It is with great pride that I have the opportunity to recognize officers who are receiving our highest awards. But first, let me describe what those awards are. The Medal of Valor will be presented to 3 today. The Medal of Valor is the highest honor presented by the Pittsburgh Bureau of Police and shall be awarded only under the most extraordinary of circumstances. It shall be awarded to members who distinguish themselves by performing an act of exceptional courage and bravery above and beyond the call of duty. This conduct shall occur in immediate life-threatening peril that places the member at extreme risk without regard for his or her personal safety and in the interest of others. This act must demonstrate professional judgment that does not jeopardize the mission. Next is our Purple Heart. 3 will be presented today. The Pittsburgh Bureau of Police awards the Purple Heart to members who are seriously injured in the line of duty. It shall be awarded to members who have received serious injuries incurred during the course of criminal apprehension efforts. Injury is defined as one that requires medical treatment of wounds or injuries that could be life-threatening or cause permanent disfigurement or disability. Injuries occurring in traffic crashes or other accidental injuries shall not be considered. Next is the Bureau Citation. 10 will be presented today. The Bureau Citation may be granted to members of the Pittsburgh Bureau of Police or non-member who has performed a given task of bravery or heroism above and beyond the call of duty. This conduct shall, by life-saving, life-protecting situations for the member who acts with the knowledge of great personal risk. The Bureau Citation recognizes heroic conduct, but to a lesser degree than the Medal of Valor. Our first is Officer Janine Triola. On February 17, 2010, Officer Janine Triolo encountered a robbery suspect in the area of Penn Avenue and East Liberty Boulevard. Officer Triolo was attempting to place handcuffs on the suspect when he turned and began striking her in the face multiple times, causing her to sustain multiple facial fractures. The physical altercation continued, with the suspect pushing Officer Triolo to the ground. The suspect then pointed a 9mm gun to her head and pulled the trigger, but the gun, thank goodness, malfunctioned. The suspect straddled Officer Triolo to the ground and continued to strike her in the face, causing her to lose consciousness. The suspect then attempted to disarm Officer Triolo of her weapon. Officer Triolo was able to regain consciousness and fire upon the suspect. For her outstanding display of personal bravery, selflessness, and dedication to the citizens of the community which she has sworn to protect, Officer Janine Triolo is being presented with a Bureau citation and to recognize and honor her for the injuries sustained in the encounter of this violent suspect. Officer Janine Triolo is presented with the Purple Heart. Thank you for your service. Next, we have Officers Christopher Curtis and Charles Thomas. On March 17, 2013, Officers Christopher Curtis and Charles Thomas conducted a traffic stop in the parking lot of the East Busway in Zone 5. As the officers conducted the traffic stop, one of the passengers exited the vehicle and fled on foot, with Officer Curtis in close pursuit. After a brief foot chase, the suspect produced a firearm and began to fire at Officer Curtis. During the exchange of gunfire, both Officer Curtis and the suspect were critically wounded. Even after receiving 2 broken wrists and 4 gunshot wounds, Officer Curtis was able to return fire and stop the suspect from being a further threat. During the gunfight, Officer Thomas was able to direct his partner, Officer Curtis, out of the area of crossfire while still holding the 3 suspects at gunpoint and preventing their escape. The quick thinking, proactive policing, and bravery above and beyond the call of duty displayed by Officer Curtis and Thomas affected the capture of an armed felon with a long history of increasingly violent behavior. For his bravery above and beyond the call of duty, Officer Christopher Curtis is presented with the Medal of Valor. And to recognize and honor him for the injuries sustained in the apprehension of this violent suspect, Officer Christopher Curtis is presented with the Purple Heart. For his outstanding display of personal bravery, selflessness, and dedication to the citizens of the community which he has sworn to protect, as well as his willingness to put himself at great personal risk to try to protect his partner, Officer Charles Thomas is being presented with the Bureau citation. Thank you for your service. On Officer Morgan Jenkins and Michelle Augie. On April 11th, 2013, at approximately 01:33 hours, Officers Morgan Jenkins and Michelle Augie engaged in a vehicle pursuit of a suspect. When the vehicle crashed on Apple Avenue, the suspect violently resisted arrest, assaulting both officers. During the struggle, the suspect was able to escape custody, and Officer Jenkins pursued the suspect on foot. The suspect ran down Apple Avenue and then fled into a wooded area, with Officer Jenkins disregarded his own personal safety to take this dangerous suspect into custody, continuing the pursuit into the woodline. The suspect then produced a firearm and began to shoot at Officer Jenkins, who returned fire. During the gunfight, Officer Jenkins sustained gunshot wounds that resulted in serious injury. Despite the personal danger faced during the vehicle pursuit, the physical fight, the foot pursuit, and the gunfight, Officer Jenkins continued to go above and beyond the call of duty to ensure the capture of a violent suspect, placing himself at great personal risk to protect others. Officer Augie, who was still at the scene of the physical altercation, heard the gunfight and was able to overcome her physical injuries and immediately ran to assist and defend Officer Jenkins, who had been seriously injured by the suspect. For his bravery, above and beyond the call of duty, Officer Morgan Jenkins is presented with the Medal of Valor, and to recognize and honor him for the injury sustained in the apprehension of this violent suspect, Officer Morgan Jenkins is presented with the Purple Heart. For her actions during this tense, uncertain, and dangerous situation, Officer Michelle Augie is being presented with a certificate of commendation. Officer Andrew Baker. On October 12, 2012, Officer Andrew Baker was responding to a call for service where the caller had observed two people arguing in the street and had heard at least 3 gunshots fired. As Officer Baker turned onto the street, he saw 2 people, a male and a female, walking in the middle of the street towards him. Knowing that it was unusual for people to be walking in the middle of this residential street in the middle of the night, and knowing that this was only a short distance from the shots fired call, Officer Baker stopped to talk with the pedestrians. As Officer Baker was getting out of his patrol car, the male produced a handgun and began firing at Officer Baker. Officer Baker was shot in the chest, his life being saved by his ballistic vest. Despite being shot, Officer Baker returned fire as he was seeking cover and struck the male, thus ending the gunfight. Despite being thrust into a gun battle and being shot in the chest, Officer Baker was able to use his training and experience to survive the gun battle, end the threat, and take the shooter into custody. For his bravery above and beyond the call of duty, Officer Andrew Baker is presented with the Medal of Valor. Next, I'll turn over the presentations to Assistant Chief Scott Schubert to give the Bureau Awards.
I'll be doing the Officer of the Month, and for people that don't know, every duty location every month submits a name of an officer or group of officers who performed above and beyond in one or a series of tasks throughout the month. And that name is submitted to the chief's office, and then the chiefs look at it and then pick one person to represent the entire police bureau for the month. So it's my honor to read these. Some people aren't here. I'll just simply read their name and the month that they were selected. For January 2013, it was Detective Christian Shuley from Narcotics. He's unable to be here. Then go to February 2014, Officers Jenny Monteleone and Andrew Ship from Zone 1 Station. On February 9th, 2014, Zone 1 officers responded to the 500 block of East Ohio Street for a male who had been shot. It was later determined that the suspect had shot one person and taken multiple shots at other persons inside a vehicle while fleeing the scene. A description of the actor was broadcast on the radio, and Officers Monteleone and Ship responded to the area to search for the actor. As Officers Monteleone and Ship approached the intersection of James Street and Knoll Street, they observed a male who matched the description of the suspect in the shooting. The suspect immediately began to flee on foot, and Officers Monteleone and Ship exited their vehicle and pursued him. After a brief foot pursuit, where the suspect physically resisted arrest at the end, officers were able to detain the suspect and recover a firearm. The firearm, which was recovered on the suspect's person, had an empty magazine with the slide locked in the rear, indicating that the weapon had been fired and had expended all its ammunition. Multiple witnesses positively identified the suspect as the one who shot the victim on East Ohio Street. As a result of their quick response and courageous actions, a former felon in possession of a firearm was arrested only moments after committing an aggravated assault. March 2014, Detective Wade Sarver, from Computer Crimes. On Friday, February 7th, at 1300 hours, 2 victims were found murdered in their home on Chislett Street in East Liberty. The victim's vehicle was also found to be missing from the scene. Homicide supervisors immediately recognized that this case would require meticulous investigation to uncover circumstantial evidence. The victim's vehicle was recovered 12 hours later in a business district, and Detective Wade Sarver from the Computer Crimes Unit was assigned to recover video from surveillance cameras in East Liberty Business District to track the person who had parked the victim's vehicle. Detective Sarver found the actor on the video from 18 different area businesses and downloaded the relevant video pertinent to the homicide investigation. Detective Sarver spent several days meticulously reviewing an enormous amount of video and was able to present the homicide squad with a distinct video clip that portrayed the actor at 11 different points ending at the Sunoco A+ store. A still photo from the Sunoco store was eventually used to identify the suspect. 7 recorded videos will presented at the eventual criminal trial of the suspect. Detective Sarver spent many long hours collecting, processing, and documenting the video evidence and provides a timeline of the actor's movements, all of which were significant in the identification of the person responsible for 2 violent homicides. All right, for the month of April 2014, it's Master Patrol Officer DeMichael Holmes from SDD. Unfortunately, he can't make it. May of 2014, Detectives Michael Joswiak, Dwayne Workman, Kelly Kinnear, and Cindy Smith from the Witness Protection Unit. On May 5th, 2014, an emergency referral for a very sensitive case was submitted to Witness Protection. It was a home invasion robbery where a retired World War II veteran who was 88 years old lived with a 55-year-old
mentally challenged adult of whom he was the caretaker. The actor broke into the home and took a revolver from the elderly gentleman who was trying to defend his home and his friend, vowing to return. The home was in poor condition and could not be secured. Robbery detectives came to witness protection for assistance, and Detectives Joswiak, Workman, Kinnear, and Smith immediately began working the case. The location of their apartment and their physical and mental health complicated the placement as they requested to stay together. These detectives worked tirelessly, often sacrificing personal time to ensure that these gentlemen's needs were accommodated. They got the elderly victim to seek treatment at the Veterans Hospital, which revealed that he had sustained a broken hip in the initial robbery. The detectives have shown an enormous amount of compassion and diligence while working to place these two gentlemen in secure housing. Okay, next for June 2014, Officers James Yauch and Gary Liss from Zone 3. On June 15, 2014, Officer James Yauch responded to a call for a robbery home invasion in progress in the 400 block of East Carson Street. As he arrived, Officer Yauch observed possible suspects entering or exiting the address on East Carson Street and running south on 5th Street. Officer Yauch immediately gave chase while giving commands for the suspects to stop. The suspect continued and got into a vehicle. As Officer Yauch approached the vehicle, one of the suspects ran from the back seat. Officer Yauch broadcasted the information and description of the suspect that fled and continued to detain the other suspect at gunpoint until help arrived. Officer Gary Liss and his partner, Officer Withrow, responded to the area and began a canvass in the area the suspect had fled. As Officer Liss was walking on South 5th Street, he saw a man fitting the description. He gave commands for the male to stop as he fled on foot. While chasing the suspect, he was able to deploy his taser, striking the suspect who continued to run. Officer Liss then activated another cycle which caused the suspect to fall to the ground. From the ground, the suspect resisted, trying to kick Officer Liss. While with the assistance of Officer Baker, Officer Liss was able to take the suspect into custody and forcibly handcuff him. Because of their dedication, quick response, and keen observations, Officer Yauch and Liss were able to take 3 violent felons off the street. Okay, for July of 2014, it's Officer Brett Bukovic is unable to make it today. He's from Zone 3. August 2014 is Detective Charles Higgins, Jedediah Pollock, and Justin Simone from Narcotics. They're unable to make it. September 2014, Detective Michael Slatkoff from Narcotics is unable to make it. October 2014, Detective Calvin Kennedy from Narcotics is unable to make it. November 2014, Officer Andrew Shipp is unable to make it. And December 2014, Officer Eric Baker is unable to make it as well. And thank you for the great work that all you officers do on a daily basis. It's greatly appreciated. We appreciate your sacrifice. I'm going to call up Commander Degler from Zone 4 to do her awards.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for attending. It's with great honor that I ask Officers Catherine Logue, Daniel Hubert, Jamie Lynn Flaherty, Jeffrey Barone, Raymond Murray, Robert Burbridge, and Dylan D. D'Amico to come forward. At 5:08 hours in the morning of September 14, 2013, officers Catherine Logue and Daniel Hubert responded to a dispatch of a fire in a multi-unit apartment building. The caller informed the Emergency Operations Center that there was an active fire in his third-floor apartment. Officers Logue and Hubert were the first officers on scene, reporting that flames were visible on the top floor of the building. Officers Logue and Hubert were soon joined by officers Jamie Lynn Flaherty, Jeffrey Barone, Raymond Murray, Robert Burbridge, and Dylan D. D'Amico. All of the officers entered the burning building with no regard for their own personal safety and without personal protective equipment to alert and evacuate all the residents of the apartment building. The officers went door to door through the dense smoke and intense heat, waking the residents and escorting them to safe exits. These officers evacuated the entire building in less than 10 minutes, refusing to leave until all of the residents were evacuated from the building. These officers are being recognized for their outstanding display of personal bravery, selflessness, and dedication to the citizens of the community which they have sworn to protect, and for their actions, officers Logue, Hubert, Flaherty, Barone, Murray, Burbridge, and D. D'Amico are being presented with a Bureau citation. Our next award would not be possible, and a lot of our work, obviously our officers do great work, but a lot of work happens in the city of Pittsburgh because we have really good partners with the citizens in the city. And this next award goes to some of those partners. Ms. Sarah King, Mr. Ryan Farley, and Mr. Arthur Muzzy. Ryan and Arthur couldn't be here with us today. They're in New Jersey on business, but Sarah is here to represent the three friends. On September 29, 2013, around 1:25 hours, an assault occurred in the South Oakland neighborhood. Unit 3492 was patrolling in the area, and the officers were flagged down by three citizens calling for help. As the officers got out of their patrol car, they observed a male lying on his back with concerned citizens rendering aid. The male victim was unresponsive, bleeding from the mouth and from multiple other facial injuries. The officers notified dispatch of their location, and Medic 5105 arrived shortly thereafter because the citizens had already called 911. The victim was transported to the hospital in serious condition. The three citizens provide valuable information that was used to quickly locate the suspects involved in the assault. Unit 3410A performed a traffic stop on the suspect's vehicle and detained the suspects. All three witnesses agreed to assist the police, and they were able to positively identify all three actors who had committed the assault. Thanks to the assistance of these concerned citizens, an injured man received the medical attention that he needed, and three very violent persons were quickly removed from the street. For their selfless assistance to the police and dedication to fellow citizens of the city of Pittsburgh, Ms. Sarah King, Mr. Ryan Farley, and Mr. Arthur Muzzy are being presented with the Recognition of Excellence Award. Now I'd like to introduce Acting Commander William English from Zone 5.
Good afternoon. Officer Greg Livesey. On July 13, 2013, Officer Greg Livesey was speaking with a citizen whose elderly relative had just passed away. While speaking with the citizen, Officer Livesey noticed that a vehicle had stopped next to his patrol vehicle on the street. The occupant of the vehicle began to shoot in the direction of the porch where the two were standing. Without hesitation or consideration for his own personal safety, Officer Livesey grabbed the citizen with whom he had been speaking and shielded her from harm by pushing her back into the residence. This occurred while approximately 5 shots were fired in the direction from a distance of less than 20 feet. Officer Livesey had the option of immediately taking cover behind a brick wall near him, but he chose instead to take actions to protect the innocent civilian from harm. The citizen expressed how extremely grateful she was for Officer Livesey's immediate actions to save her life. Officer Livesey's actions bring a great credit upon himself, Zone 5, and the Pittsburgh Bureau of Police. For his display of courage above and beyond the call of duty, placing his own life in danger to save that of one of the citizens whom he has sworn to protect, Officer Greg Livesey is presented with the Bureau citation. Officer Matthew Schwartzwalder. And Officer Aaron Upsenica. Officers Aaron Upsenica and Matthew Schwartzmiller are assigned to the 3510 car, working the late split shift at Zone 5. During the summer of 2014, Officers Upsenica and Schwartzmiller distinguished themselves among their fellow officers by actively and aggressively seeking out illegal firearms in an effort to reduce violent crime in Zone 5. The officers are being presented with the Meritorious Service Award. Within just a few short weeks, Officers Upsenica and Schwartzmiller made at least 4 arrests for possession of illegal firearms and drugs, and recovered 5 illegal firearms and a quantity of illegal drugs, thereby making the Zone 5 community that much safer. For their efforts in performing a series of tasks above and beyond simply doing their duty, and for their commitment to reducing the drug-related violent crime in Zone 5, Officers Aaron Upsenica and Matthew Schwartzmiller are presented with the Meritorious Service Award. Officer Daniel Zeltner. Officers Andrew Miller, Officer Vic DeSanti, and Officer Lance Hoyson. All right, Officer Dan Zeltner and Lance Hoyson are currently assigned to the 3590 car. They're tasked with investigating violent crime and firearms offenses in the Zone 5 area. Using a combination of confidential informants, surveillance, search warrants, and traffic stops, these officers have been relentless in their pursuit of drug dealers and other violent criminals. Between January and August 2014, these officers have seized over 32 illegal firearms and executed numerous search warrants, which resulted in the recovery of large quantities of heroin and crack cocaine. For their efforts in performing a series of tasks above and beyond simply doing their duty, and for their commitment to reducing drug-related violent crime in Zone 5, Officer Daniel Zeltner is presented with the Meritorious Service Award. Okay, next I would like to present Commander Linda Rosado Barone from Narcotics and Vice.
Good afternoon. Detective Dominic Falasino, Deputy Sheriff James Hensel, and Assistant United States Attorney Craig Haller. Would you please come up? On April 22, 2013, a 36-year-old female died from an accidental overdose of heroin at her parents' home in Baldwin Borough. As a result of this death, Detective Dominic Falasino, Deputy Sheriff James Hensel, who are both assigned to the DEA Pittsburgh PDO Task Force Number 62, in conjunction with the Assistant United States Attorney Craig Haller, instituted an investigation into the circumstances surrounding this death. The initial investigation revealed the identity of the female's heroin supplier, which then began a 17-month-long investigation into his supply chain. Detective Falasino, Deputy Hensel, and AUSA Holler were able to eventually identify 4 others who conspired with the original supplier to manufacture and distribute illegal and dangerous narcotics in relation to the accidental overdose of this female. For their dedication to duty and diligence in the following through on a long and often dangerous drug investigation, Detective Dominic Falasino is being presented with a certificate of accommodation. Also, Allegheny County Sheriff's Detective James Hensel and Assistant United States Attorney Craig Holler are being presented with a Recognition of Excellent award. Might I say we cannot do our job just as we have partnerships within the community. We also have strong partnerships with other agencies. Thank you and congratulations. I'd now like to introduce Assistant Chief Thomas Stangrecki.
Good afternoon. It's my honor to present Lieutenant Ford, Officer Janine Traola, Joseph Seski, and Sergeant Miller with awards. Please step down. Lieutenant Ford has distinguished herself by exhibiting professional excellence as she led the Pittsburgh Bureau of Police through the accreditation process. Because of Lieutenant Ford's leadership, expertise, and ability to transform goals into achievements, the Pittsburgh Bureau of Police became the largest law enforcement agency to achieve accreditation through the Pennsylvania Law Enforcement Accreditation Commission. This achieved the goal of accreditation that had been set by 3 different chiefs of police over a 20-year period, and as has been required by city ordinance. Lieutenant Ford established and continues to maintain professional relationships that are vital to the attainment and maintenance of PLEAC accreditation. During the accreditation process, Lieutenant Ford ensured that team members received and updated the training on best law enforcement practices in the PLEAC accreditation process. She also completed regular updates about the Bureau status and the accreditation process to leaders in the Bureau and in city government. As a result of achieving PLEAC accreditation, the Pittsburgh Bureau of Police received official recognition as an agency that follows best practices in developing and implementing policies and in ensuring that those policies are followed. For her leadership and efforts, Lieutenant Jennifer Ford is being presented with the Meritorious Service Award. Officers Janine Traola, Joseph Seski, and Fred Miller have distinguished themselves by exhibiting professional excellence in the performance of duties directly related to the Pittsburgh Bureau of Police goal of achieving accredited status from the Pennsylvania Law Enforcement Accreditation Commission. Officer Traola was instrumental in file creation and policy development, both major aspects of the accreditation process. As a part of the accreditation team, Officers Traola, Seski, and Miller used model policies identified by the International Association of Chiefs of Police and PLEAC to assist in the development of policy, and when appropriate, met with subject matter experts, both internal to and external, of the Pittsburgh Bureau of Police. They also maintained a spreadsheet detailing the progress of the project, submitted monthly reports to the senior staff of the Bureau, and met with the chief staff on a regular basis. Officer Seski also created an educational component of the program and also presented it to the Pittsburgh City Council, the Pittsburgh Police Supervisors, and recruit classes. He also brought the Bureau back into compliance with regulations set forth by the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency, reporting requirements for juveniles held in custody. For their efforts in achieving the goal of accreditation, the Pittsburgh Bureau of Police Officers Janine Traola, Joseph Seski, and Fred Miller are being presented with Meritorious Service Awards. Now, I'd like to introduce Commander Rochelle Brackney to present the awards for Zone 1.
Good afternoon. I'm here to present the Meritorious Service Award for retired Master Police Officer James Rome. Accepting on his behalf is his 10-year partner, Kimberly Stanley. Master Patrol Officer James Rome has distinguished himself by consistently performing his duties with professional excellence and by committing himself to the highest levels of integrity, accountability, and professionalism over the past 26 years. MPO Rome has held various assignments during his 26 years, including patrol officer, plainclothes detectives, and robbery squad detective. He has been involved with numerous high-profile cases and critical incidents during his service to the citizens of the city of Pittsburgh, and he has always performed his duties admirably. Throughout his years of service, MPO Rome has established a rapport with the citizens with whom he serves. He is recognized on a daily basis, and citizens often ask for him specifically when requiring assistance. MPO Rome's younger peers also respect and acknowledge his dedication and professionalism, and they routinely ask for his advice and guidance when handling difficult situations. For his dedication to the city of Pittsburgh and the citizens, and his commitment to the missions and the values of the Pittsburgh Bureau of Police, Master Police Officer James Rome, who I also dearly call a friend, is presented with the Meritorious Service Award. I would also like to present our next presentee, Acting Commander Dan Reed for Zone 2.
Good afternoon. Retired Master Police Officer Brenda Tate. MPO Brenda Tate has been assigned to the Center Avenue beat in the Hill District since April 2013 until her retirement in spring of 2014. During that time, MPO Tate has displayed an exemplary and professional policing on the Center Avenue corridor. MPO Tate has been responsive to community concerns regarding quality of life issues, making 12 physical arrests and issuing numerous non-traffic citations to offenders. MPO Tate works closely with the Legacy Senior Living Center, the YMCA, the Hill House Association, the Hill House Consensus Group, the Ebenezer High Rise Development Group, the Lower Hill Working Group, and the then newly opened Shop and Save grocery store to improve the living conditions for the residents of her assigned beat. MPO Tate always performs her duties in a manner that is consistent with the standards and expectations of the Pittsburgh Bureau of Police. For her dedication to and performance of her duties, MPO Brenda Tate is being presented with the Meritorious Service Award. Miss Nicole Nola. On October 17, 2014, there was a very serious motor vehicle collision involving a passenger vehicle and a motorcycle. The motorcyclist sustained very serious life-threatening injuries as a result of this collision. Miss Nicole Nola, who was on her way home from working as a licensed practical nurse, stopped at the accident scene to provide assistance. Ignoring the personal risk involved, Miss Nola rendered first aid to the motorcyclist, protecting him from any further injury and possibly even saving his life. For her selfless assistance to the police and her dedication to her fellow citizens of the city of Pittsburgh, Miss Nicole Nola is being presented with the Citation of Honor Award, the highest award presented to a civilian member of the community. I would like to now introduce the President of the Fraternal Order of Police, Howard McQuillan.
Hello, I just wanted to first congratulate each member of the Fraternal Order of Police here, that's police officers that are receiving these awards. This is just a small snippet of the actions that are done on a daily basis throughout the Bureau. And thank you, the Chief and the Mayor, for taking the time to recognize these very special people we have here today. Also, I'd like to thank your families for everything that they put up with and deal with, that this job brings with us. Hopefully not home too often, but sometimes it finds its way home. But thank you for your support and everything that you do for us. I want to thank the media for taking the time to come here on a day where we're talking about good things what police officers are doing. And unfortunately, he's not here every day, but we could be here every day. Hopefully this won't be another 3 more years or 2 more years until we're here, and this will be something that we can routinely do on the if not on a monthly, but maybe bi-monthly process. I had to kind of laugh because people were asking me, well, what do we do when we go up here? And I said, I really don't know. So hopefully this is a good example of how we'll just build from here and move on forward. So thank you again for everybody for coming here today.
Thank you. I think Howard said it extremely well. This is just the tip of the iceberg. You've heard stories of courage, you've heard stories of honor, of service, of dedication, stories of sacrifice above and beyond. And this is an example of the quality of the people we have and the quality of the services provided day in, day out by the men and women of the Pittsburgh Bureau of Police. It's humbling for me. As the Chief of Police, my challenge now is to go forward and to be a leader worthy of men and women such as this. It's a challenge for my chiefs, for my commanders, for my supervisors, to be leaders worthy of leading the individuals like we have here in this police bureau. So I thank you all from the bottom of my heart for your dedication, for your selfless service, and yes, absolutely, Howard, we're going to be doing this quite regularly. All right, so again, thank you all for coming, and look forward to seeing you on the next one.